So Enshrouded is a 2024 fantasy survival RPG that was released right around the same time as Palworld and compared to games like Valheim. When it was first released, Enshrouded was incredibly overshadowed by Palworld, and that's to say all the drama around Palworld being similar to Pokemon made a lot of gamers miss the release and interest surrounding the game. Enshrouded is early access and priced at $29.99, but currently on sale for $23.99. Now wait, I know we're all kind of sick of pre-orders and bad early access games, but listen when I say this, the only games I truly enjoy are survival games and fantasy RPGs. And sometimes it's hard finding one that isn't too much of one or the other. The fantasy ones miss some survival aspects, and good survivals are sometimes overcomplicated or missing fantasy RPG aspects. Being that this game, Enshrouded, is a mix of two genres, I'm going to break down the ways it applies to each fantasy and survival. Fantasy. For me, a good fantasy game includes themes such as magic, monsters, and medieval atmosphere. Fantasy is technically anything outside of reality, but for me, the medieval atmosphere is important. Enshrouded uses all of this in a class-based system with a skill tree you can fill out and respec whenever you want. The common enemies you'll face are goblin-style scavengers that come in different shapes, sizes, and ranks, from regular drones to large mini-bosses that have different attacks and a larger health bar. As you travel in the game, you'll also find beasts such as wolves, fantasy creatures, and the main evil plague in the world, the Fel. The Fel are found in shrouded areas, whether it's a large shrouded area or a minor one, and like scavengers, the Fel come in different shapes, ranks, mini-bosses, and such. I mean, the Shroud as a whole has more creatures than just them, so when rating the varieties of enemies, we'll give Enshrouded a gold star. Now when it comes to the combat, skills, classes, and defeating these foes, the class system in Enshrouded is open, so you won't have to pick during your character creation. You simply find weapons, use them, and decide which skills you want to improve. Each skill tree in Enshrouded is labeled with what technical route it is, but nothing is stopping you from creating that battle mage that uses a two-handed mace, then swaps to a wand paired with a shield. Then if you decide to do something like a pure sword and shield build, Enshrouded also allows you to easily respec using coins you gain from destroying old or unused gear you find, respecing just being setting your skills to 0 and getting all those points back. These same respec coins are how you upgrade the weapons you find. The devs are currently adding more weapon types for 2025, but some currently are a variety of swords, scythes, axes, maces, both one and two-handed, wands, staves, and bows. The way Enshrouded uses staves and bows is different though. These two are considered ranged weapons. While wands are single-handed weapons and they kind of do medium range, this means that you do not have to manually switch to your staff or bow, but you can have only one selected as your ranged weapon. While a wand, being mid-ranged, counts as a main bar equipped item like a sword or any type of axe. Ranged weapons, all you have to do is use your fire button or the aiming button and you'll switch into ranged weapon mode. But if you wanted to use both staff and bow and only those, like two ranged weapons, you could by putting one on your main bar and setting the secondary as your actual ranged weapon. If you're wondering, weapons and tools in Enshrouded do not break. They do have durability though, and that varies with each tool or weapon, and weapons also contain levels and rarity. Levels reflect the damage, durability, and the effect strength, while rarity affects how many effects it has that you can unlock. So something that's legendary will have a bigger list of effects that are locked until you upgrade it than something that is rare, which may only have 2. Survival. Now, if I've done a good job at piquing your interest, you'll notice I mentioned tools. Enshrouded, after all, is a survival game as well. Now, I've never played Valheim, but the one thing I hear its player base hates is the progress at which it is improved. While Enshrouded frequently has had updates and not just bug fixes, but adding incredible things that you actively notice in the game in large amounts at a time. These devs are actually working. In my opinion, if they stopped now, the game could get away with being completed and priced at $40. But back to the survival features. Enshrouded for me is a mix between Minecraft and Skyrim, and the environment is voxel based, so you can dig up or destroy pretty much everything you see and gain resources from it, and the shaping of it is more immersive than literal blocks for everything. From breaking down buildings for wood to digging straight down to get into a cave you're required to go to, Enshrouded lets you do it all. The food and eating mechanic in Enshrouded is more for a temporary boost to attributes such as increased health, strength, mana, or intelligence, so you won't be dying from hunger in the game, and there's also a rest bonus based on shelter, comfort, and warmth. Again, you won't die from the cold, so the survival genre aspect is more for the builder genre and the option to take advantage of crafting, cooking, and exploring these features. It's not too much to distract you from exploring and just enough to be supplementary and keep you engaged. The game also makes it extremely easy managing these things because you can craft some materials from your pockets, more from a workbench, and more from going to the specific NPCs you summon in your village or create homes for them to remain. They can be summoned at will once you find them and unlock more craftables after you build their stations and complete their quests. Their stations literally being just like, walls in a roof, and then whatever item they use, like a blacksmith uses a forge. Enshrouded also has animal and plant farming you can use to maintain a steady supply of meats, berries, or milk if you get tired of gathering from the world around you. Enshrouded is also multiplayer, and the world essentially starts the same for everyone, but just because it's not randomly generated like Minecraft doesn't make it boring. You can explore your friends' servers with your literal character and be your personal build in the world they created. And although the world is predetermined, the actual loot boxes aren't always the same item as somebody else that would have opened it. Now, going back to multiplayer, you can also take advantage of the social aspect and visit the servers of complete strangers who have theirs set to public, and take advantage of the newly added 2025 voice chat and text chat features. In summary, Enshrouded is made up of the open wilds, abandoned villages, temples, dungeons, shrines, and the ever dangerous Shroud. Currently, there is plenty to explore, and the devs are adding even more settlements this year, and again, I want to remind you that they are actually producing results, keeping you updated and listening to the audience. They perfectly balanced two of the most popular game genres and gave it a ton of variety without overcomplicating it. When playing Enshrouded, you could simply just focus on the enemies and get great playtime out of it, build different combat styles, or take the slower route, filling your different base areas with roads, buildings, farms, and craft recruits. The only thing Enshrouded doesn't have much of is random NPCs you can talk to. But that's because this takes place in a world consumed by a Shroud plague that wiped them all out, and it's up to you, the Flameborn, to rescue the recruits and destroy any Shroud creatures or scavengers you come across. As the year progresses, I'll be rolling out guides, missions, tutorials, builds, reviews, and updates on this game primarily, so whether you buy it or not, I promise to build a channel that will show all aspects of the game in its early access, final, and DLC versions. I hope this educated you on the possibilities in Enshrouded, and hope to see you in the wilds. Much love, as always. Be safe out there.